Dear students, Ulysses was written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Uh, it is taken from Trojan War as seen, and first lines wise I'm telling. Actually, a little explanation about Ulysses. Ulysses was a hero and a warrior and a king, and he participated in Trojan War 10 years in the Greek mythology. And after war was over, Ulysses returns to his kingdom named Ithaca. And he does not want to become a king of those rugged people because his people are savage. First, I will read the poem and listen to carefully. It little profits that an idle king by the still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I met and dole unequal loss unto a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. First, in this, he is saying he is not an idle king. Idle means we all know that idle king means he is a lazy king because a lazy king has a profit of becoming a king and enjoy the kingly pleasures. But for Ulysses, it is not an enjoyment because his first motto or his life achievement is to learn the knowledge by moving and traveling all over the world and the country cities, and he never wants to enjoy like other kings do. So he does not want to rule his kingdom Ithaca. And he's saying, by the still hearth, the hearth is nothing but a fiery place to cook food. It is like a stove, it never changes. That's why it is still hearth. And among these barren craigs, his land is completely barren and doesn't give any fertile crops. Matched with an aged wife. His wife was um, old. I met and all unequal laws unto a savage race. That means there are laws, they are very classified laws. For rich people, one law, and for poor people, one law, and people don't follow laws because his people were savage, uncivilized. They know only hoarding, sleeping, and feeding. Hoarding means saving money, and sleeping and eating, drinking, etc. And he does not, they don't know about Ulysses and his greatness. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. Lees are sediments then formed under the juice of wine, and which we generally don't take. And it is the end pot, last pot. That I will drink life to the lees means the Ulysses wants to live as long as he lives. He want to move. He does not want to sit and enjoy. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy heights vexed the dim sea. In the next paragraph, he is in the stanza. It is said that he greatly suffered. He because he made many adventures in his life. When scudding drifts means when the floating sea, and Hades means here the nymphs. Those are the sea goddesses responsible for rain, and vexed the dim sea, irritated sea. And he had lived in irritated sea, and he went to many places. He experienced many problems on the sea. I am become a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Ulysses always recognized it as a hungry heart. Hungry heart means he always wants knowledge to know the knowledge. Much have I seen and known cities of men, manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all. He went to many places, and he saw many places, and he was honored by them, and drank and the drunk delight of battle with my peers. He made war. He participated in war with his enemies, but he enjoyed the war. And far on the ringing plains of windy Troy, Troy is a city where the war took place. I am a part of all that I have met. And is saying that all experience is an arch where through gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause to make an end, to rust and varnish not to shine and use. Here he's saying that though he experienced many experiences, he moved many places, he saw many places and got a lot of knowledge. He says that only he was at the arch. Arch means at the beginning point because knowledge is very vast, and there is no limit for knowledge, and he has to learn more. So he does not want to become a king and sit like an idle king and enjoying the life. He wants to move there, and he's saying it is not good to pause or stop and make an end of his life by enjoying the at earthly pleasures and to rust. So, last lines, as though to breath were life, life piled on life. So, we're all too little and of one to me, little demands, but every hour is saved from that eternal silence. It means eternal silence means death. Before he dies, he wants to prove himself to be a great explorer and knowledgeable person. Death is actually a bringer of new things, and it is said this a bringer of new things. And while it were for some 3 cents to store and hoard myself and this grey spirit yearning in desire, and when death meets him, before that he wants to prove himself as a knowledgeable person and explorer. And this gray spirit, the spirit means in his inner spirit was gray, means he became old, yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star. The star, before, until the star dies and collapses, the star gives some radiance. In the same way, before he dies, he wants to become a knowledgeable person and get all the knowledge. Yearning means wanting more. His desire is to follow knowledge beyond the utmost bound of human thought. So exceeding the human thought, he wants to become the knowledgeable person. So here he strictly says that Ulysses, in the first part of his poem, this poem ends here with the intention of being an explorer until his death. And Ulysses is not an ordinary king, and he was a warrior and an explorer. Next, in the second half of the poem, this is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom leave the sceptre and the isle. Well out of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. See here, he is talking about Telemachus, his own son. So he is handing over all his kingly duties and kingship and his power of ruling his island Ithaca to the hands of his beloved son Telemachus. He loves more, and he is able person because he can fulfill the labor of ruling this people with his slow prudence, with his intelligence. He can mild with rugged people, and he uses some soft degrees, soft skills to subdue them, obey them, and make them useful and good. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties. Telemachus was a dutiful person, duty minded person, and a decent not to fail in offices of tenderness and pay meet adoration to my household gods. Adoration means worshipping household gods. So every house has some gods, and in Greeks, at the time of Greeks, they have a lot of gods, and they have to fulfill the duties of adoration and means worshipping gods. So he can do that. When I am gone, he works his work on mine. So there lies the port. Next in this next stanza, he makes his ship ready to leave Ithaca and go to some far off lands along with his friends. Though his friends were also old, they would never lose their spirit. And there lies the port. The vessel puffs her sail. Vessel means airship. Ship starts his sail. There gloom the dark, broad seas. My mariners' souls that have toiled, toil means worked hard, and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took. So they are all ready to set off the sail, and the thunder and sunshine and opposite free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Old age has yet his honor and his toil. So though we are old, our spirits are not old. Saying, Ulysses, death closes all, but something array. The end here, array means before. Before death stops all. We want to some work of noble note. We have to leave our noble work, and we have to start our journey here. Not unbecoming men that strove with gods. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. Here, that means already it becomes dark, and the time has come for them to sail, and they start their journey. The long day wanes. Day means the daytime was completed, and the slow moon climbs. That means the darkness deepens. The deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in Odo's might. That means Ulysses is encouraging his people to come and start his journey. Along with him, his friends always stood by his side in all types of enjoyments and sorrows. So, in adventures, and the sounding furrows means lines, for the purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and baths of all the western stars until I die. So, he wants to make a journey to visit the new lands and learn the knowledge until his death. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much bites. And though we are not now that strength which in olden days. So he's saying maybe he dies or he lives, nobody knows. Because in the sea he may die or live. If he lives, suppose he sees the Achilles. Achilles is a war hero of the Trojan War. Along with Ulysses, he fought, and Ulysses doesn't care of his death, and we are not now that strength which in olden days. In olden days, we are very weak. Now we are very weak, but once we were very strong, moved earth and heaven. That which we are, and we have done lot of things. He is saying, one equal temper of heroic hearts, but his heart is heroic temper, made weak by time and fate. All his strength was weakened by the time, but strong in will to strive to seek and find and not to yield. But his spirit is always young enough to continue his journey and do the hardest tasks that one they have done along with his friends on the sea. So this is the poem of Ulysses, and so dear students, you must be very careful of learning all these meanings and vocabulary from this poem. And please note this point, that you have to learn before read this poem. You should learn about Greek mythology, Homer's Odyssey, Iliad. Thank you.